So I've been playing with the same Sims family for like 11 generations now, and once I got to generation 11, I was like, I want to try and do a challenge or something to sort of stir things up. So I decided to start the Not So Berry challenge with Gen 11. And so obviously I'm gonna need a new house. The Not So Berry challenge is kind of a fun one. I'll explain it in a second, but that's what this video is. We're gonna build the new house for Gen 11 of this family and for Gen 1 of the Not So Berry challenge. Now, I know you're all thinking it, so before I get started, let me explain. Yes, I am building this house in Strangerville. I know, it's shocking, it's horrifying. You're like, Lil Simsie, don't you hate Strangerville? Yeah, I do not like the pack very much. But the world is actually very cool, aside from the little like scary alien plants and the weird people running around. The world is actually pretty good. My issue is more with like the houses in the world. A lot of the houses in this pack kind of suck. Like they really didn't try and they're all empty. It's sort of terrible. It's kind of disappointing. Anyway, the world itself is actually pretty nice, and I thought it was kind of appropriate for generation 1 of the Not So Berry challenge. If you're new to the challenge, you might not know this, but basically in the Not So Berry challenge, it's a legacy challenge that I wrote like 5 years ago now with my friend Zoe. Basically, it's like 10 generations, and each generation is themed after a color. So for example, Gen 1 is mint. All of your traits are like green. So your Sim's vegetarian, they're materialistic, they have the chief of mischief aspiration, and they want to be a scientist. Basically, the idea of the challenge, we were kind of trying to like force ourselves to branch out and like try and do things in the game that we didn't do that often. So for example, the scientist career and the mischief aspiration. And also those two things you might not really think about pairing together. Like you might not have a Sim who is trying to max the mischief skill and also the logic skill at the same time. Like it's kind of odd to do both those things at once. So we were trying to like make this challenge that had Sims that were like multifaceted, more interesting, right? And that was the whole idea. And then we also had them all themed after colors because it was kind of funny. So like Gen 1 is mint, Gen 2 is rose, Gen 3 is yellow, and it's kind of like a rainbow challenge basically. Now obviously this house is for Gen 1 of Not So Berry, so it's mint. Basically everything's gonna be like a bluey green color on the inside. It's a little extreme. You'll see. I will say this house also took me literally forever to build. Oh my god. I actually built it once before this footage that you're seeing, so you might be like, wow, you built the whole shell of that really fast. Yeah, because it's my second time doing it. I built it once before this. I spent like 2 hours building the shell on stream, and then I was like, this floor plan is too frustrating. I can't do it. So I bulldozed it and started again, making it a little bit smaller. And even now, I feel like this is probably a little bit too big. I definitely ran out of money once I was trying to furnish it properly. You'll see, this house is very odd. This family that I'm playing with is very odd. So I must warn you of a couple things that you'll soon see appear in the build. Now, this is my Potts family. I've made a couple videos talking about them before, and I also stream them all the time, and I have been for like a year. So you might have popped in on this and like see me playing with these Sims, but like I said, it's 11 generations, right? So I have a lot of dead family members in this save, and I also have all of their graves still. Now, keeping in mind, a lot of these graves are from Sims that like died of old age. For example, I have a lot of pets that I've had over the years that died of old age, but I also have eliminated a lot of Sims by my own choice. What I'm saying is I've killed a lot of Sims in this save, and I also started collecting graves. Like I would go to the bar and then some random old lady would die and I would bring her grave home with me. I didn't kill her, but I did keep her grave. So I'm just warning you now, okay? There is a significant number of graves in the front yard of this house. This might not be a house that you choose to play in. I know I make a lot of house builds that I put up for download on the gallery and stuff. This might not be one that you want. I'm just warning you. It's really weird, okay? There's a lot of graves. There's like a rat. There's pictures of my dead Sims. I mean, it's an odd one, okay? But it works for me and what I need. So this is good for my purposes. It's also kind of big, but it's only 3 bedrooms. So you'll see upstairs there's 3 bedrooms. There's quite a few bathrooms actually, which is pretty fun. There's 3 bathrooms. There's also an office downstairs. There's a big formal dining room. We have a kitchen, obviously. We've got a lot of things going on here. So currently in this household, I don't have that many Sims. I've got like grandma still lives here. I have the new Sim, like the mint Not So Berry generation Sim. She's a young adult and she has a girlfriend, but they don't live together yet. So it's just her. And then she also has 2 younger siblings that are both teens that still live here. So we kind of have this like multi-generational family situation going on. But eventually, obviously, her mom's gonna die and then her girlfriend will move in, and also her siblings are gonna move out. So I only put 3 bedrooms because I kind of want to have 2 kids. And so to me, I feel like this sized house really works for that. And my siblings can just share a room for now. So that just gives you a little insight into who lives here. And also, like I said, I ran out of money when I was trying to furnish this. I spent a lot of time doing, believe it or not, the bathrooms and the backyard. Probably too much time and money. I did cut out the bathrooms from this because I can just show you. Like, I'll give you a little tour. They're small rooms, so we don't need to spend like 20 minutes on bathrooms in real time. But I did probably spend too much money on them because then by the end I was really struggling to get furniture for like the twins' bedroom and also the mom's bedroom. So I was just thinking though, like, obviously I built this house because I'm playing in it. So I built it with money that I actually had, and I'm gonna slowly sort of adjust it and change it as we keep playing. So it's okay if it's not like fully finished. It's just different than my usual speed builds because obviously normally I make a house and I'm making it for like random sims that don't actually exist. So it doesn't matter and I can do whatever budget I want and stuff. But with this, I was doing a very specific build for very specific sims and my very specific graveyard purposes. So that's the situation. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you're new to my channel and you're new to speed builds, basically in these, I kind of just talk. This is our chance to catch up once a week. You know, we just sit here, we chat, I give you some life updates. For example, my current life update is that Dan's green card interview is next week. If you didn't know, Dan moved here on a fiance visa like 9 months ago. We came at the end of July last year. And obviously we've been in this like immigration process for over 2.5 years now, like trying to get the visa, and now he's here and we're getting the green card and stuff. Well, they finally scheduled the green card interview and it's next week. So that's exciting and kind of scary, but that's a big deal because once he gets that, like, he can work, he can travel, he can do everything. Well, actually, he finally got his work permit literally yesterday. We applied for the work permit like simultaneously with the green card because usually, you know, when we applied for this in August, you might get the work permit in like a few months and then the green card in like 9 months. And so you have the work permit like in the meantime before you get the green card. Well, that only came yesterday. So the green card interview is next week now. There's not like really that much of a point in having the work permit, but hey, I'll take it. I accept it. We have that now. That was actually really exciting when it finally came. So I don't mean to like, I can joke about it, but it is a big deal that we finally have it. But yeah, the interview is next week. I've made a bunch of videos talking about the visa process and like the whole situation and slowly giving updates over the last couple of years. So I can link some of those for you down below. And then obviously I'll probably make a video talking about the interview once we have it and stuff next week because we both have to go. And it's kind of weird. The whole point is to like prove that we're in a relationship basically and that we didn't just like do this for the green card, you know? So we have to like prove that we actually live together and are actually together. And so we're gonna like bring out like our mortgage papers for the new house we bought this year and all of that stuff to try and like prove to the government that we're actually together. We've already done that. That's like the whole point of the visa in the first place, but you have to do it again. So we'll do it again at the interview, but hopefully it goes well and I'll keep you posted. And also, speaking of the new house that we bought, you might have heard about this too because I posted some videos like showing you around and like doing some renovation updates, but they're putting the cabinets in this week. As of recording this video, the cabinets are like almost completely done being installed. We don't have countertops yet, but the cabinets themselves are like pretty much completely done being installed. I think I'm gonna make a video probably this week showing you around because a lot has changed since the last one. Like there's floors now, which is a big deal. We also obviously have the cabinets, which is huge. So I think I'll make a video probably this weekend. I'll go over there and film it. I've been scared to go there and film like during the week. I go and I take pictures during the week, but like I'm not trying to film a YouTube video when there's like people there working, you know? Like if there's like the cabinet guy there installing cabinets, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna catch me showing up and filming a YouTube video. Like I'm not gonna be talking in a video like that if there's people there. It's not gonna happen. So this weekend when there's nobody there, I will go and film something for you. I've actually filmed a bunch more house tour videos than I've actually posted publicly because we made a bunch of like proper house tour videos to send to Dan's family. Obviously Dan is from England and so his parents haven't like been able to come here yet since he moved, and they certainly haven't seen the new house in person obviously because, you know, pandemic, flying across the ocean, stuff like that. So we've been making videos to send to them with like proper updates, but these are like proper house tours where we like, you know, go outside and stuff, and I'm not gonna post that on this channel. I'm not gonna show you the front of my house. That's not safe. I live in fear of people coming to my house because they've come here where I live now and it makes me feel unsafe. So I'm trying to be very particular about what I show on YouTube of the new house, like on purpose. I hope you understand. I just, you know, we gotta be safe and the internet is unsafe. So, but we have filmed like more proper house tours a bunch of times. We do like pretty frequent updates to send to his family. It's also kind of nice just to have like for the future. It'll be fun to look back on those like full on house tours of like when we first bought it versus when they first demoed it versus now, right? Where there's like actually floors and a new kitchen and everything. playing, like the wall is gone in the kitchen and all that. So it's just nice. It's nice to have. So one of the things about this house that you might see and think is kind of weird is that I had like a bunch of random appliances just like sitting around. For example, I just had like the stove and the fridge and stuff in the kitchen. That's because I brought those from my Sims old house, because I've been playing with this family for so long. Obviously, I've got a lot of things like TVs, computers, graves, you know, stuff like that. And so I brought the expensive things from the old house. I just like sold their beds and, you know, like the tables and stuff. I wasn't trying to refurnish this house with old furniture, but I did bring the expensive things like the kitchen appliances and the computers, because otherwise, you know, I have a 10,000 simoleon computer. It's depreciated to 8,000 simoleons. So I would have lost like 2K. That's a lot of money. So I just brought it with me so I didn't have to worry about that. And you might be able to tell now I've got like 13K left. We actually have some things we need to start worrying about money-wise, because I'm not even close to being done furnishing the house. I had to do some scrounging up for money. I was like selling plates, and I went through all of my Sims family photos and sold duplicates. I probably got like 500 simoleons from that, but I wanted to make sure I had like at least 3,000 simoleons left. My Sims are like painters, so we'll get the money back pretty easily. I can add to the house pretty quickly. I didn't want to leave myself with too little because I was really worried about bills. I'm not trying to have us not be able to afford bills. That would be really bad. So I wanted to make sure we had something. Officially, in my Not So Berry Challenge rules that we wrote, we said that you can cheat for money to build a house. Basically, in my head, it was like, if you want to do like the free real estate cheat to have like a 40K simoleon house instead of a 20K simoleon starter home, fine by me. That's kind of how I used to like to play. I would just give my Sims a house and then like cheat their money back down to a decent amount of like, you know, like 2-3K simoleons and then play. And so in the Not So Berry Challenge, you technically are allowed to do that. I probably wouldn't do that now. That was more how I played like 5 years ago when I wrote the challenge. But this house, I didn't cheat for money. I've just been playing with these Sims for a long time, so I have a lot more money. Honestly, I'll probably end up cheating my money down. Like, I'll probably end up cheating money away because I've been playing on short lifespan this whole time, so I don't have that much money. But now that we're doing Not So Berry, we're gonna play on normal lifespan, and you have to like max the careers in the Not So Berry Challenge. And so you're gonna make like a really decent amount of money doing that. So I can see myself probably in the future like cheating money away and trying to get rid of money, as opposed to like trying to scrounge up simoleons from selling plates like I've been doing in this video, which is kind of funny. It's gonna be interesting to see how that changes over the course of the next few generations. Oh my gosh, I'm like looking at my household inventory as it pops up occasionally, and I have chickens in it. I should probably explain that. So these Sims, like I said, I've been playing with them for a long time, right? Okay, and so when cottage living came out, I had chickens for a little bit, and then I sort of got bored of playing with the chickens, so I wanted to get rid of them, and I was like moving, so I just put the chickens in my household inventory and kind of forgot about it. Now, keeping in mind, that was like, what, last August? It's now April, and I've just kept them in my inventory this whole time. I could sell them. I could get rid of them, but I've had those chickens in my inventory for so long that now they're part of the family, you know? People always in my chat, they'll come in. This is the thing. You can probably imagine that as I'm live streaming with this family, people have a lot of questions. Like, you tune into a live stream for the first time and the person has like 75 graves in their front yard. You're gonna be like, well, now hold on. What's going on here? Well, I also have like the chickens in my inventory. That's another big one. They ask about the chickens very frequently, and I don't really have an answer, because they'll be like, why do you have those chickens? And I'm like, well, I just do. Like, I just kind of want them. And that's not like a good enough answer. That doesn't explain why I have those chickens. I mean, how can you explain why you've had chickens in your backpack for like 9 months? You just can't. You can't explain that. I think that probably could be said of many things in The Sims, though. You just can't explain it. Much of The Sims 4 is something else. I think we can use that descriptor for a lot of this game. So especially how some of us play The Sims. You just can't explain it. I mean, try to explain the legacy I play on YouTube. You just can't explain it. Like, I have a fire toilet. I have a toilet that catches on fire at least once a week. Try explaining that to someone who doesn't play The Sims. Come on. Oh, if you want to watch that, by the way, I do post a legacy challenge on YouTube. I've got like a different legacy family that I play on this channel, and I can link the playlist for you if you want. It is just as chaotic as the one that I play on Twitch. It's kind of fun having the two separate ones. I love them both both equally. And also, if you want to watch this one with the graves in the front yard, I do stream this one all the time on my Twitch channel. My name's just lilsimsie on Twitch. I do a lot of fun sim stuff on Twitch. Like I built this on stream, play with the Sims on stream. Actually, today on stream, we're doing a new shell challenge. I'll post the video on that probably in a couple of days, but we're doing a new shell challenge on stream the day that I post this YouTube video. So if you want to pop in and get in on the shell challenge early, you're welcome to join us. Again, my name's just lilsimsie on Twitch. The other one last plug, the other thing is that I've got new merch that just came out this week. So if you're interested in that, my website is just lilsimsieshop.com. We've got hoodies, we've got necklaces now. We did some mouse pads. There's still a bunch of t-shirts. We also have a hat. We tried to do some more like accessory type things as opposed to just like the apparel. So this new launch has some kind of cute stuff if you're interested, lilsimsieshop.com. But otherwise, we're getting pretty close to the end of the video here. I'm just trying to like throw in some finishing touches. You can see I have very little money left. So at this point, I'm just like trying to slowly pop in and add like little details and wallpaper in the last places that I can where I can afford it. We're just scraping by. See, I have like 3K, but like I said, I wanted to keep like 3K on me. I didn't want to spend all of it because I wanted to make sure we could afford to have like a safety net just in case. But we're pretty much done with the whole build now. I think now might be a good time to pop into the game and show you like a real proper tour. I always do that because I feel like it's easier to actually see the house. It's kind of hard to tell like what's going on from the speed build because it spins around so fast. So once I finish placing my graves here, we can pop into the game and I'll give you a real tour. All right, here we go. So we've moved way back here to the back corner of Strangerville. I know, tragic. Although this actually gives me a good excuse to renovate a lot of Strangerville. I did it before, like when the pack first came out, but maybe we could do it again. Oh my gosh, how long does it take to... It's all the graves. It's the graves that are causing it to load slowly. Oh, here we go. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so this is the finished product. The lighting is bad, so I'll show you the backyard first. I have a few necessities back here. For example, this pond is how I kill my Sims. It's full of piranhas. They have a chance of dying if they jump in. I also put a swing set. We have like some little purple landscaping. I've got a couple microscope type stuff that my Sim will need for the scientist career, this included. My Sim's mom, this one is an artist, so she's got like a little art gazebo back here. I just am obsessed with the view from this area. It's so cool. And then we also have like a little table and grill space back here in the corner. And there's also a huge porch. I didn't get to furnish that as much as I wanted to. I'll probably add to it when I earn some more money, but we have a little chess table and a yoga mat. There's also a rocking chair in the front, but I'll probably, like I said, get some more stuff around here once we have some more money. I just don't want to spend it all at once. This is the front of the house. Couple highlights. I've got this little mint colored bike. I also have this wonderful observatory in my front yard. Great views though from the front. I mean, wow. And then these are all of my friends. I have a significant number of graves. I did warn you about that. And then when you first walk into the house, you come straight into the living room. I tried to have a little bit of an entrance here. I also put up like some family photos. This is my cat. It only recently died, but that's a picture of it jumping off the counter. And this is that little living room space. I want to add more to this room. This one kind of is sad, I think, but I don't want to spend all my money. We also have a little gallery wall of some more of my pets. Only that one is still with us. The rest of them are gone, unfortunately. In here, this is the kitchen space. I want to get like some more furniture in this area, but I'm not really sure what yet. So we only have this to work with for now. I love these counters though. These are from Vampires. They're pretty nice. Over here, this is the office for my scientist sim. I also have like a big wall to fill up with collection stuff as we get it, and a drawing of a dead cow plant, of course. We have this really nice like formal dining room area. It also has some more pictures of pets on the walls. And I loved this little bathroom. This room is probably way too expensive. Like this painting is like 2,000 simoleons, but it's so pretty. I loved this. I want the whole house to be more like this vibe once I get some more money. So you'll see the bathrooms I spent a lot of time and effort on. For example, this is the like primary suites bathroom. It's so nice. And then down the hallway, we also have this little bathroom. I loved the fun wallpaper. I love the green. It works really well, I think. So this is that first kid's bedroom. This one is shared by my Sim's younger siblings. Probably could have been better, but it's a really weird shape and I didn't have a lot of money, so this is what they're gonna get. This is my Sim's mom's room. This one especially is very lacking. I really wish I had some more furniture in here, but like I said, I'm trying to save up. So this is probably the first thing that I'll update once I get some more money. And this is that like main bedroom for my main Not So Berry Sim. I love using all of this green. There's so many swatches of things that I never use. Like I never have used this bed, I don't think. So it's kind of fun having an excuse to do it. Obviously the whole house is very green. This is not normally something I would do, but for the challenge it works. But that's the whole house. I've got it on the gallery if you want to download it. And if you want to pop in and watch me play with these Sims, I'll have my Twitch channel linked down below. Thank you for listening. listening to me ramble for 20 minutes. I greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Also, if you like listening to me ramble for 20 minutes, I'll link another speed build here for you at the end of the video. We got the playlist for my legacy on YouTube and a speed build for you. Take your pick.